I am Master Moubeyi Bouale, a lawyer at the Gabon Bar, National Director of the National Association Maghanga Ma Nzambe. It is an association that brings together the community of traditional medicine in the practice of Bwiti Misoko. And I am from the Masango tribe in the south of Gabon. Thank you very much.
Your perspective on how traditional, I'd like you to share your perspective on how traditional knowledge of Iboga is preserved and respected within your community.
Thank you, Stephen, for that question. For me, it is truly a distinct privilege to be able to speak about Iboga before an audience comprised not only of esteemed scientists, but also of all the individuals whose lives have been profoundly impacted and saved by traditional medicine through the power of Iboga. Iboga for us holds a multitude of promising perspectives. First of all, it is a truly sacred plant. It is considered sacred because a good majority, if not an even larger segment of the Gabonese population, actively engages in traditional rites through the consumption and the ritualistic use of Iboga. So there is this spiritual practice that also allows us to preserve our cultural heritage because the songs, the dance, and the sounds specifically contribute to the understanding of cultural heritage, quite apart from traditional medicine, because it is within our sacred rites that we practice traditional medicine. So let's elaborate on this. It's a plant that is all the more sacred because when you embark on a journey to seek healing, once you have consumed Iboga, the Iboga itself has the inherent right to reveal to you personally which specific plant essence is most appropriate for the complete healing of your particular ailment.
How do the Gabonese people generally feel about sharing the boga, this sacred and cultural plant, with the rest of the world?
Iboga is intrinsically linked to traditional medicine, and consequently, our traditional medicine is not exclusively a community based medicine. It is not solely intended for the benefit of our own community. It is destined for all human communities without any borders, without any distinction based on race or gender. And it is quite natural and understandable that foreign communities, those who are not part of our own, would wish to extol the profound importance of Iboga, even when considering its origins outside of Gabon. And for us, it's a benefit for humanity, first from a health perspective. And as interest in Iboga grows, inevitably, with the sharing of traditional knowledge, the international community will also turn its attention to our spirituality. And naturally, with all the values attached to spirituality.
We've spoken about the challenges. What opportunities do you see in the future for local communities on this issue of Iboga?
The opportunities before us are indeed quite numerous. The primary opportunity, to begin with, lies in the internal organization of our traditional communities. Traditional medicine, as I previously stated, does not solely concern itself with its immediate community, but rather it extends its reach and interest to encompass the entire national and international community. But the income from the practice of traditional medicine does not allow the traditional community to organize itself properly. So, to answer your question more precisely, the most important opportunities for us are this exchange already with the international community, with the funders who have the means to support us so that we can organize, truly organize within our communities, because we have a great need for the education of our children and for the communities to be able to truly help each other. And this also allows us to have exchanges of traditional knowledge with other foreign communities that adhere to our traditional medicine. Let me give you an example. Maghanga Ma Nzambe bring together all traditional medicine practitioners in Bwiti Misoko. But because of the rural exodus, which means that there are people who left the interior of the country to settle in the capitals, The practice of Bwiti Misoko was no longer the same with a lot of doctrinal rigor. I was chosen by my community to organize the Bwiti Misoko throughout the national territory. But what mean do I have to organize a large traditional community like that if I don't have financial support from the state? May IMCF forgive me for mentioning them, the American Fund for Indigenous Medicine, which supports BOTF. And it is thanks to this support, to this partnership, that we receive the financial backing to organize all the traditional communities throughout the entire national territory. In 3 years today, Maghanga Ma Nzambe brings together the best traditional organization of our country. As an insider, as a custodian of traditional knowledge, I now have the right throughout the entire national territory, just like the National Order of Doctors would, to see in which temple what the orthodox practice of our traditional medicine is. Our nations are confronted with many challenges. The international community can assist it in being able to support traditional communities in preserving traditional medicine for the benefit of humanity. So you will observe that in Gabon, there are numerous traditional communities that practice traditional medicine. They are not organized. They are compelled to come to me because I have, in a sense, provided the operational guidance. But my support is fragile. How could they carry an entire community, all the traditional communities of my country? Thank you.
I'm asking, from your experience, what do local communities most value in international partnerships?
I believe that the primary consideration when dealing with international communities is above all financial assistance. Because an international community cannot come directly to us to seek the exchange of traditional knowledge. I am making the distinction between the international community that wants to address traditional communities directly. We are expecting from the international community financial support to allow us to organize ourselves internally. But on the other hand, those who come from abroad individually, they come first and foremost to seek their health. And secondly, even beyond the scope of scientific research and also in the field of public health, this is a very insidious and cunning form of cultural appropriation because through these actions they are effectively taking possession of our traditional knowledge and practices. Well, at this point, I really need to be completely honest. This is an opportunity to speak about sincerity because in spirituality, one must never lie. There are individuals who come to Gabon to receive healing. There are individuals who also come to be initiated into our traditional rites, but when they return home without having received the authorization for initiation or to perform a certain number of traditional practices, that's what they are doing without having obtained the permission from their Gabonese spiritual master. And that's very dangerous. So we have clear examples, and I won't cite them because, well, the world today is very open. One of my one of the members of my community initiated a woman in Costa Rica. She had never given authorization to initiate outside her national territory. But when she left for home, she asked at least 6 women to be initiated. But unfortunately, there is a woman who passed away simply because one, she didn't have permission, two, she didn't have the skills to avoid a number of accidents. Thirdly, it harms Bwiti Misoko because in Costa Rica, there is a campaign that has been carried out against Iboga and against Bwiti Misoko. So, traditional medicine in our culture, it's a school. You need to have degrees. You undergo an initiation ceremony in Gabon, and then upon your return to your home country, you claim to have received spiritual ranks that are not truly reflective of your spiritual level. There you go. And naturally, it harms us because this child who went to do spiritual practices beyond their level, we were questioned. I, as the national director, Maghanga Ma Nzambe, questioned their spiritual father. He came to Libreville. I questioned him. Because before sanctioning the child, we first questioned the spiritual father to ask what rank the child held. So, as he was a foreigner, we asked his spiritual father to summon him so he could also be heard and confronted with his spiritual father. So then he came to Gabon, he organized a ceremony, and before the elders he explained himself, and he was then determined that he was in violation of the regulations of traditional practice. So what exactly is happening here? Well, when he arrived, we organized, just as he mentioned, a special ceremony. We bestowed upon him our blessing and all the necessary guidance so that he could properly orient himself within his spiritual life. And so I naturally agree with Excellence in stating that if you truly desire this partnership, you absolutely must not steal. I apologize, we must not appropriate behind the backs of your spiritual masters. Let's establish contracts with fully informed clauses for the sharing of traditional knowledge. It's for the good of all of us.